the fabulous, the one and only Mr. Kinky Friedman. Kinky, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, Paul, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. It's such a great honor to have you here on the program. You're such a musical legend and a political legend, and
Well, now don't put me up on a pedestal now. No, I'm just a man of the people.
man of the people from Texas. One of the greatest states in the Union.
Well, well, it's no disgrace to come from Texas. It's just a disgrace to have to come back here. That's what I always say.
Oh, well, you mind if we sort of start at the beginning, I guess?
Sure.
You were born in Chicago, but when you were only a child, you moved to a ranch in Texas, correct?
Yeah, I lived there 1 year, couldn't find work, and moved to Texas, where I haven't worked since. But I have lived in Texas longer than most folks, because I'm now 64 years old, though I read at the 66-year-old level.
So, how old were you when you learned how to play the guitar?
Well, it's a question of whether I really learned or not. Willie Nelson says that Kinky thinks he's a guitar player, but he's...
Willie.
So anyway, that's why we call him the Hillbilly Dalai Lama. But I guess I learned to play the accordion when I was about 11, 10 or 11, started that, and then shifted it to the guitar when I was about 12.
Okay, right around the time when I learned how to play.
And the first song I learned was Fraulein by Bobby Helms.
Okay, and I guess who are some of your early musical influences?
Well, you'd have to say Hank Williams, Jimmy Rogers, and Slim Whitman were three, and Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash, the Man in Black.
Yeah.
And let's see here. You put your first band together while you were a student at the University of Texas, correct?
Yeah. Well, in high school we had the Three Rejects, and but the first time I ever recorded was when I was in college. That was King Arthur and the Carrots, and that was kind of a Beach Boys style music.
Poked fun at surf music.
I suppose, yeah. And so that was it. I think I got late. I think that was my main problem. I think told me that. He said you got started too late, and I think I did. I didn't really hit the road with a band and start performing till late 20s, or mid to late 20s.
And that was in, around 71 that you formed the notorious Kinky Friedman and the Texas Jew Boys?
Yeah, 71. Now, that was the quasi-legendary living room tape. We didn't make our first record till 73 on Vanguard Records, but the stature of the group is such that people think that they've seen us, thought they saw us all through the through the early 70s and the late 60s.
Yeah, but
and everybody thinks that they were there at these shows, but of course they weren't. That's like all the people that say they voted for me for governor.
Sure, and we'll talk in a few minutes, because you've certainly had quite a political venture and career. But so, how did you come up with the name, the Texas Jew Boys? Was that something that sort of came to you right away when you were forming the band, or was that something that developed over time? Or
well, I was in Borneo at the time, in the Peace Corps, in the jungles, and I thought of a little twist in Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys, and I realized that Jews and cowboys only have one thing in common, and that's that we both like to wear our hats indoors.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
And wasn't it your father sort of objected to the name? He didn't think it was funny.
He didn't like it initially, but he came around. And, in fact, was a big supporter of ours, my father and my mother.
And
were very instrumental in my instrumentation of musical instruments and singing.
And when you first formed the band, you were playing mostly honky-tonks at that time? Is that correct to say?
Yeah, we and it was unusual because Vanguard Records is kind of a connoisseur New York record company that does mostly folk artists. They've never done country music before us. Well, they did. I think they had Commander Cody, and they passed on Bob Dylan. That's what they're mainly known for. That and
Well, what a thing to be known for.
yeah, and they but they did take us in '73, but they didn't know how to market it. I mean, the first record sold American. The single was hitting all over the rural markets, and they never had sold records there, or worked with radio stations there. So it was pretty typical. That's just the way things go.
So, what was it like to record your first full album?
Well, the first album was, it was very exciting, Nashville, at that time. Today, Nashville is kind of works like a brothel, They have these rooms all down these long hallways of these publishing houses, and they have 2 or 3 people in each room writing songs. They get paid $25,000 a year or whatever they get paid, a flat type of thing. And that's why the writing seems so derivative. It doesn't. You don't hear any Shel Silversteins or Roger Millers in there very much.
No, there's really not anything unique about so-called country music of today. It's pretty much.
No, in fact, Paul, I would say that the cleverness has pretty well gone out of it. Whatever it was that made country music distinctive and appeal to so many different kinds of people in different cultures around the world. And it still sells. They just throw it out there and play it on the radio, and they're selling platinum records. In fact, I would say that the artists of today, not very many I can think of, but I don't know, Alan Jackson, what's his name, Garth Brooks, those kind of people, Tim McGraw. I'm sure they sell many more records than Willie Nelson and Hank Williams did in their whole lives.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think? I think it's probably true.
Yeah, I would say so. But
and you see it, and that's the difference between being important.
Yeah, that's true. I never really thought of it that way.
They're important. Anybody who can sell platinum records is important, but not necessarily significant.
And it seems like they took the heart out of country music. What used to speak to people is no longer really there, in my opinion.
No, they're all very well behaved, aren't they? They're kind of little puppets of the producers and the record companies.
It sounds all the same, pretty much. They even most of the singers now.
Yeah, they do, and that's of course, being fair, the country singers that I loved were pretty. What's the word for it? They were very self. They thought they were big stars. They acted like big stars, and they were kind of had a lot of self-pity and a lot of pompousness to them. Mm-hmm. And the first one that I ever saw that acted just like he was just a normal man was Waylon Jennings. He used to wink at the audience. I mean, he knew it was all BS,
Yeah. Waylon, and I guess that's why he not originally, but after he started making records with the Nashville Sound, when he first came to town, he decided, I'm not going to do this anymore, I'm going to do it my way, and then he went to Texas.
Well, it's a very good idea that Willie and Waylon had, which was, let's find the best writers we can find, let's hang out with some kind of crazy, different kind of people, let's record at different hours of the day than, just 9 to 5, or whenever the session is called. And let's have some colorful characters hanging around and do it our way. Let's not do it the way the record company appointed producer and the way the record company has always done it. Let's not do it the way Nashville, has done music, because it's not getting across to people. And some great music came out of that era, out of the outlaw era.